Hello everyone, this is the Catalog Man back with another catalog. Today we're looking at wind and weather, weather instruments, home and garden ornaments. It's going to be from the holiday season of 2002. So this is going to have a lot of just weather related items, little weather stations and some generic yard ornament and stuff like that. So let's get started. All right, so we start out with right there, kind of explaining what we got. Gifts, traditional stuff, home instruments, wind, weather vanes. And got a globe that's made with 20 different types of semi-precious stones. It's kind of cool. I have seen globes back in the day, at least, where each country had its own specific mineral, its own specific stone that was mined from that country. That I find a little bit more cooler than this, which is a little bit more generic, but still kind of neat. Ostrich egg art. Now that's different. That's definitely something you don't see often. It's expensive. It's $150 plus $200 for that giraffe stand. Actually, I kind of like the stand better than the egg, but more types of gifts and weather things. Now we got the traditional weather items like the Galileo thermometer, just different types of older styles and things like that. Historic collectible timer made from 100-year-old relics. These handcrafted timers bring a historic touch to timeable tasks. They're made in England from reclaimed bobbins and salvaged spools from a defunct textile near Manchester. Kind of cool. Little historic wood. Kind of neat. What do we got? Got some more kind of, a little bit over the top stuff. That's pretty cool. Apparently it's called a heaven machine, but those are actually really cool. With the earth and everything going around, and constellations and stuff like that. Pretty neat. Oh my gosh, it's $900 though, and uses C batteries. Not included. How cheap can you be? $900, you won't even drop a C battery in it? Wow. Okay. Clocks and stuff like that. Get into thermometers, wireless weather station. Those are kind of big back in the day, during this time period, really, the early 2000s. Never knew anybody who had this type of one, but I knew people who had some. And even today, it's still a cool thing to have. Yeah, you get your smartphone and everything. You can look up the weather in no time and see this information like barometric pressure and wind speeds and humidity levels. But it's kind of cool to have your own personal weather station for what is like exactly where you are. And especially if you live somewhere that's a little bit more remote, your closest weather station could be a distance away. Even from where I live currently, the weather station, while not super far away, there's quite a difference, especially when it comes to rain and snow and that sort of thing, from where I am to the weather station is. So it has its purpose. Let's see, doesn't want to stay. Oh well. Yeah, it's got some knickknacks. That's bizarre. Got some nautical stuff. Find out about barometric pressure and that sort of thing. Obviously handy if you are by the ocean. A lot of times they'll have tide and stuff like that. Kind of getting a little, not tacky, but these were a style back, during that time period. The later 90s into the early 2000s. All right, I got more weather stuff. Choose the right weather instrument. Actually, it could be useful. A lot of the stuff, again, you can still buy today, obviously. In fact, I actually took a look at the website to see if this company still existed, and they do. And they still have the exact same stuff for the most part, just more modern. Like the screens are colored now. You can have it, sync with an app on your phone, so you can see it on the go and stuff like that. So it's just kind of taking this sort of thing, only just making it slightly more accessible and a little bit easier to read instead of having this, black gray color scheme. Not a whole lot to look at. It's all pretty much the same. These are all the same thing for the most part, just different variations of it. You can get different sensors and gauges and stuff like that to add on. Got a very big wall-mounted one. One speed. Now that comes in handy. Handheld ones, I guess technically it's handheld, but they make like a legit handheld one where, it's very much designed for if you're on a boat, where that sort of thing is somewhat important to know. Again, more weather stations. They all have their little slight quirks to them. Nothing super different from one to the other. A lot of them some have more items on display than others, but nothing too big. Larger if you are a little bit harder. If your eyesight's not quite as good, you have the larger display. Wireless stuff, more sensors you can buy, which aren't that expensive. You're like, $30 to $35. That's not bad. It's a good little add-on. Desktop ones, again, all basically the same information, just different ways of showing it. Price-wise, kind of, again, depends on, there's obviously different qualities to them, but, the prices just vary slightly. Okay, now we're going to do it. And that's kind of cool. Have your temperature and time highlighted onto a wall or whatnot. It's kind of neat. You still see stuff like that today. Up on time. What is this very early 2000s looking device? Okay. Simplify your quest for time with the squint-free convenience of a portable projection clock. Oh, it's a projection. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's what that is up there. Yeah, makes sense. It's a very early 2000s design, though. Weather Entertainment Center? Okay. That's, okay. I'm assuming it has a radio function. Yeah, AM/FM radio, which kind of worthless. No CD compatibility. Even 2002, MP3s were already, kind of a thing. It is what it is. Again, more weather stuff. Same things, different variations. There you go. There's like the handheld handheld wind instruments. Great if you're sailing or you need to know the wind speed for. It could be anything from construction, even, for cranes and anything like that, where you need to know this stuff. I know like today, like tower cranes and stuff have sensors on them and their own wind gauges on them specifically for this reason. But, it's also a fail-safe. I got the wireless sensors. Why wireless? Simple. There's no wires. Makes it also a lot easier to move around, so you're not stuck with having your item on one corner of your desk. Sensors cost more. I'm a little surprised they don't come with some of this stuff already, but yeah. Now we're getting to the big time stuff. Like your legit own weather station. I had a neighbor who actually had something like this, even more involved than this. But they, that's what they love. They love seeing that stuff. And it's cool. I've always thought that stuff was neat. If I didn't live in a high rise and lived in a house, I might get something kind of like that because I don't know, it's neat, it's fun to me. Yeah, that's that's almost like I don't know, not too. It's not too formal. It just looks. I don't know. I don't like it. It's just I kind of like this better than this. This is just too. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I don't like about it. I guess it's just not for me. I think I don't like how everything's like just a preset, and then the numbers just change out. I don't know. All right, what else we got? How much is this anyway? Holy wow, $1,000 for the ideal wireless home weather station. Updated system from Rainwise. So quickly, easily. Well, I mean, I guess it'd be a little bit easy once you have this set up, which if they have a higher point, you can't just put it like in your front yard. All right. Yeah. Wind Inverter's comfort rating 110% from high-tech acrylic microfibers. It's just a blanket. Winter throw. Random, considering what we've just seen up to this point. Just a candle holder. Okay. This enchanting kitty guards hearths and gardens from a filigreed pedestal while catching fire or sunlight into glass marble eyes. Made of cast iron and a warm, rusty finish, and tail like steel scroll support. I mean, it's interesting. It's all right. I'm not really sure what the point of it is, especially about a fireplace. Like, it'd be one thing if it's like a screen holder for your fireplace, then that would make more sense. But just that individual one, kind of weird. These things are pretty cool. They just legit turn based off of heat. It's designed for, like, like I said, wood stoves and stuff like that. I'm not sure it would work with an actual fireplace. It might. But yeah, it's just kind of like an automatic thing. It's just actually more than anyway, it's just kind of a neat piece of science in a way. All-in-one record player, CD, all that, those are always crap. While convenient, the record player part almost universally is going to be bad and it's going to destroy your records. Now, I had one and it scratched one of my records, and then I stopped using it because, a lot of my records are extraordinarily hard to get. A lot are from Europe, like punk music, like punk records from Poland and Germany, stuff like that from the 80s. So not something I can replace easily, so I had to stop using that. But good thing is today, it's very easy to get a record player that's good quality and not too expensive. Slippers, I've always had a pair for 30 plus years of Minnetonka slippers just like that. Most comfortable things in the world. I love them. I keep buying them all the time. I wear them until they wear out and buy another pair. Very classic. I mean, that is the classic weather station. And it's called a classic German weather station. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, that's just, I mean, I can't tell you how many people's houses I went to as a kid, always elderly, who had that on a wall. Pretty sure with any sort of, grandparents' house or even like an older relative, like an aunt and uncle, that sort of thing. Friends and stuff, they all had that. Anybody who's older had that. And I'm not going to lie, I do like it. It's just something kind of homey almost about it. It's just something that just seems like, yeah, in the right type of house, yeah, you need it. Another actually kind of old school thing, you got clocks, barometric pressure gauges and things like that. These are cool. They're made out of brass, which is neat. That's always good. And then we have Fish safe fishing. Not entirely sure how accurate that might be. It's a barometer, so I guess how they figured it out, like barometric pressure and stuff like that. Because it tells you based on the pressure when the best time to fish is. Not sure how accurate that is. I'm not a fisherman. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't accurate. Maybe it's semi-accurate. I don't know. But if anything, it's a conversation piece. It's kind of neat. I mean, looking at it, it looks kind of cool, but for me, not practical. We got some more kind of nautical stuff. The tabletop weather vane. Some sort of like an international clock. Yeah, that's a weird one, though. That's a very odd international clock. I don't like it, actually. All right, we are at the center. Now again, some books and stuff. Moon phase calendar, always awesome. No problem with the moon phase calendar. Like, I've had a couple, throughout my life. The thing is, they're only good for a year, and so then it's like, cool. You can't really do anything with it once it's done. So, but they're usually cheap. I mean, imagine this. Yeah, it's $16. So like what, $25 today? Probably not even, probably 20. Gigantic rain gauge, which we actually had something like that. Wait. Proper altitude. Interesting. It's weird it's portable looking because it's not like you're gonna go on a flight. You're not gonna hop on a United plane and have this thing with you. But yeah, just order forms. Anything interesting? Oh, looks like they're based out of Fort Bragg, California. Shipping costs. Actually, their shipping is a bit pricey for what I've seen in catalogs for this time period. Like $5 for up to $15. That's a bit expensive. I've seen less than that. Gift wrap stuff, corporate gifts. Yeah, some of this stuff really is like corporate gifts, especially those earlier on, those smaller little like clocks or little like tiny like desktop letter gauges, like the brass stuff. Yeah, those are total corporate looking gifts. And satisfaction guaranteed, returns and exchanges, blah, blah, blah. Technical assistance, no charge. That's good. They have an actual store in town of Fort Bragg, which I know it's a town, but I can only think of the military base. I think of the army base, but I know it's also a town. Yeah, this stuff is just, that's cheap corporate gifts. Oh, but I don't think they're that cheap. Oh no, they are. They're $30. Yeah, exactly. This is the type of crap you would give someone who worked for like 5-10 years, something like that. Oh, here's gold, quote unquote, gold clock. Cheap. It's junk that just sits around. Eventually you find it at Goodwill. Some more weather stuff, of course. Keychain thermometer, that's bizarre as can be. Especially in 2002, because in 2002, unless it was a very, very inexpensive car, or you were driving a fairly older car, like early 90s, I mean, by the late 90s, every car had a thermometer, and it had a temperature gauge, and it told you what the outside temperature was. Unless you were driving like a very inexpensive econo car, most told you that. What is this thing? Rainbows for sun, solar-powered rainbow maker. What? Swarovski crystals reflecting. Oh, the crystal down there. So I guess it's just like a spinning. That's weird. It's like a disco ball kind of. That's very weird. Yeah, it's more kind of junk. Um, Portable solar power. That's when that stuff started to become pretty popular. Charge your Ericsson phone. um, that actually looks very much like my first one I ever had, which would have been in 2001, I believe. So I got my first phone. It's like 18, 19, something like that. But yeah, I mean, they still make this stuff today, obviously. Um, Charge. I just noticed this when I was skimming it. Cell phones, global positioning system, personal digital assistants. Why do you not say GPS or PDA? Everyone knew those acronyms in 2002. Everyone. Two-way radios, mini discs, MP3, CD players. But yeah, I mean, those things are useful, especially camp. Camp or you live somewhere where your power goes out all the time, then yeah, it's a very useful thing to have. More other stuff. Some fancy rain gauges. Just solely a wind device. Okay. Now we're in weather vanes. I always love a good weather vane. I don't know. I think it's because I saw a lot of them growing up. Because I lived in an area, not necessarily old. I mean, the town I grew up was very old. From the those everything's from like the late 1800s, early 1900s. But there was a time in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, different types of house, like a Cape Cod style house, kind of like a Dutch colonial house. Those sort of architectural styles always seemed like they had a weather vane on them. And so that's what I kind of think of is those kind of, weather vanes. Stylized, they're different than this. They're a bit more old school. These are much more fun, like a gigantic saw. What the hell? You got your animals. That's pretty neat. It's a cat playing with mice. That's pretty cool. I mean, cool in a dorky way. Like, I wouldn't put it on my house, but for the right person, it's funny. Rooster's kind of cool. That I would maybe put on my own house. Prices, we're looking at about $200 to $260. That one's super expensive, but that's much more involved than most of them. And it doesn't say how much these weigh, but these things would be very heavy because these are copper. So they would be quite on the heavier side. Sundials, mine is being in copper, brass, whatever that material is. It's kind of a quintessential weather vane. Okay, the most niche thing ever. Who the heck has, you'd have to have like a ranch or something, and then you have to have an overhead beam going across your drive to put this thing. Like, this is not something just an average homeowner is going to use or even have the space for. This is so stupid. Because I mean, 8 feet long, 11 inches high, or 16 feet long, 21 inches high. 16 feet long is insane. I mean, that's huge. It's also almost $1,200 for that one. Gotta pay almost $100 in shipping. Yeah, today I feel like the shipping would be free. I wonder what kind of box that comes in. It's gotta be in pieces. There's no way it's one solid piece. Because otherwise you're gonna get a 16-foot long box. That might explain why you have to pay $95 in shipping, because then that automatically means you need a semi-truck. Because even a box truck, I mean, those get up to like what, 16, 20 feet? Might not even work on that. Yeah, boot scrapers. I used to see those a lot. This one's kind of weird though, because it's like metal, it's not a brush. A lot of times you see just like this, but it's a brush. Not just a metal to scrape mud off. Go away hat. that could have its place. Yeah. Why? Why have a random fake deer peering out of your bushes other than to scare the living hell out of somebody? Or yourself. Middle of the night, whatever. I don't understand the point of it, but there must be a point. Metal doormats. Just some, again, yard knickknacks. Just junk, honestly. Stuff you see, but there's no point. It serves no purpose. Now, why would you not either Photoshop this out or take the picture from a different angle? That's bizarre. I can clearly see the lighting set up. I can see the photographer. Like, there's ways to photograph that with having minimal amount of things in it. And then you could always just Photoshop out the rest. And Photoshop did exist then. And different variations of it. I mean, if you're using film, you can still edit it out. This is around a time when digital started to overtake film, but digital is still very, very expensive. That's just wild. Again, more little trinkets. What the heck is this thing? Melodic Mrs. Mouse and her Berry Merry Brood. That is a very odd wind chime. That is... I feel the type of person who would have that would be like an aunt who never had kids. Probably has a gray hair, like it started going gray like in her early 40s and just never died, just went with it, which I respect. I respect that. But that's the type of vibe I get off of that. This type of thing was all the rage for a while. It's just, again, stupid stuff, but it was pretty popular. Naked people, okay. Like I say, if you're crazy, not crazy aunt, not your crazy aunt, you're just more hippie-ish aunt, yeah, 100%, 100%. Like I said before, same type of person. Some bird feeders. These are some bizarre bird feeders in houses. Like, it's so bizarre. Lots of bird stuff, bird guides, bird bath. Some ornaments and stuff. Never used to see a lot of, I don't really see it much anymore. Every once in a while I come across it at somebody's house, but not usually. Copper watering pot. Now why you want a $70 watering pot is beyond me. Other than it looks cool, but still it's $70. Yeah, those fountains are actually kind of cool. We had one, my mom had one, you know, in our living room. We had one on a table. They're neat. I like them. They still have it. This is so cheap looking. Me seeing this, that fake gold, which is, this is a stick-on, on the back of that wood. I can't begin to tell you how many of those things I've seen in my life. Not the specific one, but that crappy gold, quote unquote, is legit. It's like a piece of, it's not even brass, it's like a fake metal. And it's just glued on to something. It's always like, you know, again, corporate gifts like we talked about earlier. It was another corporate gift type thing. You know, you can put your logo on there, your name on there, whatever. I guess the only thing that's kind of cool with this is that it does have a chime, which is pretty cool. Not practical, really, but it's cool. Yes, you have a pre-programmed 10-minute progression, which is said to improve dream recall and diminish grogginess. Well, you're not technically supposed to remember your dreams. I've heard that numerous times, where your body, your mind is basically designed to forget your dreams. Obviously, we all have dreams we remember, obviously. But yeah, so I don't know about the dream recall, grogginess. I don't know. I know there are things out there. Fire stations use it. I actually stayed at a hotel in Christchurch, New Zealand that had it, where the light gradually comes on, so it's not like just blinding you. Same for alarm sounds. The alarm gradually turns on. It's not just blah, blah, blah. But this, I don't know. These things are awesome. This was something everybody had. Like in school, most teachers had them in their windowsill. Lots of houses had it. I would probably buy one someday. I mean, I could have one now. It's just my window ledge is a little small. But I definitely have the sunlight for it. But those are pretty cool. I like those. Just watching it spin around. Some very crappy watches. I sold watches for years. Yeah, I can tell these are crap. They are atomic, at least one's atomic. Oh, that's the most drab atomic watch ever. I mean, example, Citizen, like their Skyhawk collection that they had, maybe they still make it, I don't know. Atomic, awesome, very cool looking. But there's no shortage of atomic watches out there. Yeah, the old school canes. I always thought those things were cool. I feel like a badass. Yeah, pocket watch, which is cool, but again, quality-wise, it's probably crap. It's $80? Yeah, that's junk. Absolute junk for that. Yeah. And almost at the end, oh my God, I remember this stupid stuff where you dress up your wine bottle. Why? No clue. But that was a thing. Seems impractical, but you know. I got some games. Stupid generic nuts and chocolate covered stuff that you always see at the holiday time. And that is it. So, finish out with some more yard decorations. And yeah, looks like that is that. So, that was Wind and Weather from the holiday season of 2002. Definitely a very unique catalog, leaning a little bit more on that niche side of things, considering weather vanes and weather stations. Like I said, this company still exists if you want to look them up. A lot of the stuff is exactly the same. It's literally the same stuff, just more modernized. But anywho, that's going to do it for this video, and I will see you again with another one.